What's up guys, it's Punchy, and yesterday we just got one of the most game-changing updates for Deepwoken PvE, and of course mantras are way more effective than their previous versions, and M1 damage has been reduced against monsters, which some people might be mad about. To be honest, I see why players might be unhappy with this specific change, but it also rewards risky playstyles that use mantras and partially bridges the gap between PvE and PvP based builds. Of course, min-maxed Evan Spear monster players will still be dealing more damage, but ganking builds can still have a chance against monsters. Some players are mad about this because yes, you will be dealing less damage with M1s against monsters, but that is safe. They also do a little bit less, but it's not that noticeable. I'm not gonna lie, you can one-shot monsters with M1s and mantras if you have the right builds. It's just a little bit more diversity. Also in Monday's hotfix, corrupted mobs now deal 50% extra damage instead of 100% to make it a little bit easier to fight against, and yeah, that's good. But I'll be going over some of the cooler changes in more depth and explaining what I observed in game. There's a few different attuned variants, and let's talk about them. So first off, the most noticeable of these variants is the fire variant of attuned monster, which is very easy to notice, and some of them, they don't really look that good right now. But of course, these enemies have flame particles that cover them fully, and some of them even change colors, and yeah, they're cool, but it's a little bit rough. On many of these attacks, they burn the player, which deals extra damage, but still, there is counterplay because if you parry, block, and dodge, these will do nothing against you. And we can also tell by the sound effects that fire monsters resist fire damage, and they're weak against wind. The next attuned variant I saw was the ice element, and this one is fairly basic. So these ice monsters are indicated by this glowing white circle, and they will slow enemies on hit and create ice floors when their attack lands, and this one is cool, get it, but it also buffs up ice players. We can also assume that they resist ice damage and are weak against fire. Honestly though, the scariest new attuned monster has got to be wind. I mean, check this out. It seems like these mobs attack faster and their attacks knock you away with the suffocate effect. So if you aren't being careful, just imagine this in the depths. Like seriously, it's scary, you might get knocked off a cliff or so, but I will say, if you know their patterns, these guys do nothing, and these monsters resist wind damage and are weak against fire based off the sound effects that we hear in game. Lightning monsters are kind of confusing, but in hell mode, these guys might wipe players. On a successful attack, these monsters apply stun as lightning chains between them and anything around them, so it's kind of AoE, so you have to be careful if you fight around other players or mobs because these guys could infinite stun you. Now the final and most mysterious entity on this list are the shadow attuned monsters, and it's kind of weird. If a shadow monster attacks you, you definitely lose ether, but that's not the strange part. If you hit them, shadow monsters seem to resist M1s, but other attunements and other mantras did the most damage against them, so it's very interesting to say the least. Some players might be mad about these changes, but again, these monsters, they still have the same patterns, you can still counter them the same way, it's just a little bit more interesting. These updates regarding elemental monsters are insanely big for PvE variety, and we can finally use attunements to do something in this type of content, and it's more fun to fight against these monsters. Slowly but surely, we're moving towards monsters from Elden Ring or even Risk of Rain, but maybe next update monsters will have talents, I'm kind of kidding, but maybe they might. That being said, there's very interesting, unique, and secret interactions and appearances with these new attuned monsters that I recommend you check out for yourself, and it's very fun and worth your time. That's it for now, but thanks for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe. We're almost at 57k, so please help me out. Later this week, there will be builds and, bigger videos, but, hold on until then. Thanks once again, and have a good one. It's punchin' time.